Hello everyone, I'm Ludovision, and welcome to the low-level one-shot boss challenge. I'll start off this video with Quelaag. I was trying to put her in the previous video, I hadn't managed to finish her off yet. I borrowed this strategy from another person who attempted the challenge, Bloody Mess, on YouTube. He's got a couple of numbers in the name. You can see his other stuff he's done. Part of this challenge, I think he gave up the CCC, Crossbows, Curse and Calamity challenge up to Manus, and also, what else did he do? He did do a New Game Plus, low level bandit with a Calamity Ring playthrough. It's also a very good playthrough, you should check it out, very good playing, and yeah, he deserves some good views, you should check him out. Okay, so there's the Undead Dragon. I actually have no idea how much health he has, so I decided to do as much as I possibly can. I probably could have done that just from the ground. Why risk it though? Now these Titanite demons in Sen's Fortress caused me a fair bit of trouble. The first one, none at all, since I just killed him like this. Second one, took a couple of tries just because I wasn't sure how much damage I needed. Got him eventually though, it was quite an easy kill. The third two though, I actually had to stop and come back later because, well, they have more health than the first two, and also it's harder to get a clean hit on them. Thanks to the fact that the first one was right around the corner and trying to kill you. I ended up using Fire Tempest on him, or was it Chaos Storm? I can't remember. Because it just, I think it actually killed him in the first hit, but I'm not entirely sure. That was just to get my health down early with the Hellkite. This is probably overkill too. I believe I forgot to actually use the Dragon Torso Stone. Doesn't really matter though. Died anyway. And you'll see him just pouring the flask on his neck for some reason. What do we got here? The Black Knight here. No? A Hydra, right. Already killed that Black Knight. This Hydra, at first, I wasn't even sure I could do the damage. With all my buffs and everything combined, the Great Club with the Gold Pine Resin, all of that, and the Dragon Torso Stone, it did 2,461 damage. Now the Hydra had 2,500 damage. So what I did was, since I needed to get up to rank 3 eventually with the Dragon Torso Stone, and I also needed to get the Chaos Storm Pyromancy from the, what's that? From the Covenant, I forget what it's called at this point. I actually did a bit of grinding, got 80x Dragon Stones, Dragon Titanite, whatever they called it, Scales, 80x Dragon Scales, 30 Humanity, went and got Chaos Storm and then rejoined and ranked up in the Dragon Covenant to get to rank 3. That gave me enough damage to kill that Hydra. I especially wanted to kill these because it gave me access to the DLC in a little while. I realize now I could have done that later with a different weapon that I got. The Great Club isn't the best choice for boss battles. I still use it for the fights in between bosses. It's still a very good weapon for that. Good scaling, good damage, just not the best. My replacement weapon for bosses was actually a Crystal Demon's Great Axe +5, which you'll see later in the video. And that, I believe, is the first example of me dying during a Fire Tempest or a Chaos Storm, which happens quite a lot in this video. Now this one, I actually wasn't expecting him to have such a small amount of health, so I went and buffed excessively, I think. Most likely could have done it with far less than this, but doesn't matter. And enough fire to kill him. Now, as you'll see next, there are actually a couple of parts where I'll show something that technically probably should be considered mini-boss, but isn't on the list. I don't give myself any points for this, just out of fairness. I've noticed, I think it was actually Vegeta's video where he was giving points for that sort of thing, but I'm not entirely sure, and I'd rather just avoid it entirely. So that one was on the list, so I gave myself the point for that. Titanite demons, aka prowling demons. But the other things, such as those gargoyles I just killed, and there are a few golems in crystal caves and some other stuff, like the guy just before your first encounter with Seath, that I did kill without awarding myself a point. You get too many points in this challenge. I ended up not spending about 15 of them just because I didn't want to just over level to the point where I could one-hit kill stuff. I almost... I'll mention that later, actually, a bit early for that. Okay, Ornstein and Smough. This one caused me a fair bit of trouble because I wanted to kill Ornstein second for the Leo ring. I was planning on trying out a strategy with the Greatsword and using its stabbing attack with a counter for possibly the strongest single hit in the game with a melee weapon. Ignoring plunging attacks. Now, as you can see here, my health was getting very low from Power Within. So I killed Ornstein second and didn't get the Leo ring anyway. Now, what was usually happening before that was Ornstein, while I was trying to kill Smough with the Fire Tempest or the Firestorm or whatever it was I was using, Ornstein would rush in there and get himself immediately killed before Smough would take 2 hits. Very frustrating. And this one I was standing too close, but he died anyway. And no Titanite slab from this guy. I decided after that, just went to the Dark Wraiths for a bit, farmed a couple of slabs. I was only aiming for 1, but I got 2 in the same run, so it's all good. I actually still have 3 slabs left on my character after finishing this. So I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to use them for. But getting off topic. Now these ones, they honestly have less health than I thought. If you bash them over the head with something this powerful, they're just gonna die. So yeah, the magic weapon actually wore off before it got hit that time. And yeah, this guy, like I mentioned earlier, technically not a mini-boss, but yeah. Also, it's very easy to one-shot just by parrying him. And there's that one. And these ones were not on the list, so I didn't give myself any points for them. And does anyone know why the lightning effect is blue? Is that just because of the crystal caves? I'm actually a bit confused about that. Now for Seath, I did have a bit of awkwardness with this particular part, just because I didn't realize he'd actually broken the crystal, and also my Power Within was getting my health too low. So it took me a little while to get over there, but then I realized I had more than enough damage, and it appears if you get it just right, you can actually hit 3 times Fire Tempest, which I didn't actually know until I rewatched this video. If anyone knows, is that just because you hit them with the very first pillar? I'm not entirely sure. This one, as I'm sure anyone watching this video knows, there's actually nothing between the bonfire and this boss to get you down to Red Tier Stone beforehand. So just had to block a bunch of his attacks with a non-100% shield. Didn't bother with a weapon enchant, so it's quite a weak boss anyway. Now, I got very lucky on my Artorias kill. Some expert dodging here, or so I like to think. The fact is, he's very aggressive, and a lot of his hits will hit you right after you initiate the Fire Tempest. He doesn't really have much time in between his attacks. And the Fire Tempest is one of the slowest spells or pyromancies in the game. So that was me being very lucky, you know, ducking his stab. But it worked. I actually came back for Manus later because I'd been hoping I could find a way to one-hit kill him. I ended up just accepting a 2-hit because he's got too much health and too much resistance to properly one-hit kill him. I believe I could have done this just completely unbuffed, maybe with a red tearstone, but otherwise. Just Pinwheel, I believe, has about half the amount of health as the damage I just did to him, but doesn't do any harm. No, there's a Black Knight here, and came around from behind me, sneaky bastard. As you can see, I'm actually very bad at parrying these halberd Black Knights. So I generally just backstab him instead. And I think this is the first time you'll see me use that tactic. You equip the Dark Moon Seance Ring to get to the boss area with an extra spell slot. Put Power Within in it, cast Power Within, and then switch it to a different type of ring. Say the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring, and you've got all the damage you can and also the most powerful spell. I used that to let myself use Chaos Storm effectively this time, simply because at this point I only had 2 attunement slots. And there you can see my stats there. Oh, did I leave that bit in? Yeah, this is another boss with nothing to get you to low health before you walk in, unless you want to go up the top and give yourself some fall damage, but I've got a good shield for blocking both magic and physical. It's the Magic Warrior's Round Shield plus 10. It's actually quite a good shield if you just want to block magic. It's got 85% physical resistance, 84.5% magic resistance, but only 40 stability, so it's a trade-off. It is, however, very effective for 4 kings. So this one here is possibly my most embarrassing death of the entire video, and I hope never to do that again. Lost my bearings when he knocked me sideways a bit. Now this one, I was expecting her to be extremely easy. What I wasn't expecting is the number that would show up at the bottom of the screen when I hit her. Have a look for yourself and try to explain it to me. I don't understand how it can say 272 damage. Anyway. I was aiming for a tail, hoping to get the dagger, but doesn't matter. I don't have a use for it anyway. Now this was after I'd gone through the abyss. I had tried a couple of times to get him on the stairs with a plunging attack. You know, try to trick him that way, but it's very tricky and I'm not even sure it's possible. It should be with enough practice, but I ended up going through the abyss, getting the Dark Bead spell, which as everyone knows is extremely overpowered, and just killing him with that. I don't have the Manus Catalyst yet because I'd still been hoping to find a way to one-hit kill him. But this works. And these ones, again, not on the mini-boss list. They're pretty much just smaller bosses, smaller versions of an actual boss though, so I've included them anyway. Now after meleeing them a couple of times, I thought this is probably not the best way of doing it. And of course I died a couple of times, so I just switched to this method, which is very simple. Just quick attack, very easy. They only have about 900 health apparently. So just one cast of this just kills them. And that's enough of that. Let's go to a real boss. Well, that's disappointing. I said a real boss. Anyway, this one, he has a fair amount of health, I'll give him that, but not much resistance. I think I only just barely killed him with that, to be honest. I'm pretty sure he has about 5.6k health. I think Centipede actually has a very small amount of health. Like 3,000 or something. So I wasn't anticipating much trouble for him. Now where are we now? Oh yeah, I skipped the bed of chaos in the video because he doesn't award any points anyway. No one wants to watch me running around like an idiot. And sneaky Sif just bumped into me to stop me casting. Here we go, Manus. Like I said earlier, I had to just settle for a 2-hit kill on this one. You can see me using Darkbead first. I know it's not the strongest spell to use, but it got him down to the level of health I could finish him up from without being extremely slow, like, say, Fire Tempest. Now at this point I had given myself an extra attunement slot, but I still needed to use the ring strategy to get myself power within, because I'm using Darkbead and Chaos Storm. This one, possibly the highest damage I've seen this character do. I think I did over double his health. That's too much damage, shouldn't be able to do that much. And Kalameet, I did the 2-hit kill for him too. I was attempting a plunging attack on him. Climb up the ladder and drop down. Yeah, everyone knows what a plunging attack is. But the problem was, I was 300 damage short. If I had more stats, which I probably could have actually leveled up to the correct amount of stats with the amount of points I've got, it feels a bit cheap. I don't like leveling up excessively in a low level challenge run. So I just accepted the 2-hit kill. I am absolutely certain that with enough stats, you can 1-hit kill him with a plunging attack. Of course it kills you in the process, but it's possible. And 4 kings. I actually had to level up 6 times to get the 2-hit kill on these guys. I was attempting to wait for all 4 to show up and hit them with a Fire Tempest or something. That proved both excessively difficult, and I'm not even sure if the actual boss health bar takes multiple hits from the same Firestorm. Seeing as it's separate from the actual individual kings, I'm not sure if that would even work. Initially my Darkbead was only doing about 4,580 damage per cast, and that just wasn't enough to 2-hit kill them. This Hydra was a bit of an afterthought for me. I wasn't even thinking of it. I just checked the mini-boss list, see if I'd missed anything, and this was the only one on the list. Had to go back and kill it. And we're almost at the end here, it seems. Yes, Gwyn. Not really the hardest boss in this challenge. I'll be very honest about that. This was actually my first try. He only has, I believe, 4,000 health, so it's not that hard, especially with a spell as overpowered as Dark Bead. And almost 6,000 damage, as you can see there. Thank you for watching. My name is Ludovision, and this was the low-level one-shot boss challenge. I'll leave you with the ending of the game, and thanks for watching.
My lord, bless thy safe return. Let Karth and Fraft serve your highness. We are here to serve your highness.